This is Nightline and I'm Liyana Hassanel. The top stories. Malaysians banned from visiting 7 African countries over new variant fear. And primary school students to undergo weekly COVID-19 screening. Good morning. A temporary entry ban will be imposed on foreigners with travel history within the last 14 days to 7 African countries, following the discovery of the heavily mutated variant B11529, effective Saturday. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said his ministry views the matter seriously and will carry out genomic surveillance, including on individuals arriving from countries that reported the new variant cases and other destinations. According to Khairi, Malaysians are also banned from travelling to the 7 countries, namely South Africa, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia and Zimbabwe.
Warga negara Malaysia dan pemegang pas penduduk tetap yang pulang ke Malaysia dari negara-negara tersebut dibenarkan masuk ke Malaysia, namun dikehendaki menjalani kuarantin wajib selama 14 hari di stesen kuarantin tanpa mengira status vaksinasi serta tidak dibenarkan menjalani kuarantin di rumah.
Khairi also said samples would be taken from all travellers arriving from the 7 countries for genomic surveillance. Based on genomic surveillance to date, the new variant has yet to be detected in Malaysia. However, Khairi said preventive steps and border control needs to be stepped up as precautionary measures against the new strain. So far, several countries have reported cases of the new B11529 variant, including South Africa with 77 cases, as well as Botswana and Hong Kong with 4 and 2 cases respectively. In the meantime, advisors to the World Health Organization are holding a special session Friday to flesh out information about the new variant of the coronavirus. WHO's COVID-19 technical lead, Maria van Kerkhove, said work was being carried out by researchers to determine the variant's mutations and their potential impact on vaccines and therapeutics.
We don't know very much about this yet. What we do know is that this variant has a large number of mutations. And the concern is that when you have so many mutations, it can have an impact on how the virus behaves.
No, I just would like to...
The WHO also cautioned countries against hastily imposing travel restrictions linked to the B11529 variant, saying they should take a risk-based and scientific approach. Meanwhile, Maria said the WHO was closely monitoring the variant and weighing whether it should be designated a variant of interest or of concern. There are currently 4 variants of concern: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and the overwhelmingly dominant Delta. In another development, the Health Minister also said that primary school pupils will be required to undergo weekly COVID-19 screenings beginning Monday. According to Khairi, the move was part of the National COVID-19 Testing Strategy, NTS, that requires primary pupils to undergo screening as they are not eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine yet.
Keperluan untuk sekolah-sekolah rendah iaitu di mana murid-murid adalah di bawah usia kelayakan untuk menerima vaksin, perlu melaksanakan ujian mingguan sekurang-kurangnya kepada 10% sampel daripada pelajar-pelajar sekolah yang ada di sekolah tersebut.
Khairi added that the screening test is also aimed at preventing the emergence of COVID-19 clusters in schools and should be carried out regardless of whether the pupils have symptoms or not. According to the NTS document published by his ministry, screenings should be done using the self-test RTK antigen kits with monitoring from the school. The document can be viewed at the website shown on your screen. Meanwhile, Khairi revealed that the Cabinet has agreed to cap the prices of COVID-19 vaccine booster shots available at private clinics.
Untuk dos penggalak ini, kita ada dos penggalak melalui PIK, Program Imunisasi COVID-19 Kebangsaan. yang diberi secara percuma oleh kerajaan. Tetapi kita juga ada private sale, terutamanya vaksin Sinovac yang telah dibenarkan untuk menggunakan sebagai dos penggalak melalui klinik-klinik swasta. Kabinet telah putuskan untuk kita mengawal harga penjualan dos penggalak di sektor swasta ini.
The Health Minister also said his ministry and the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry will set a ceiling price for the vaccines, which will be announced next week. He also said the Health Ministry will continue to recommend both the vaccination and booster jabs for the people, even those who have recovered from COVID-19 infection, until new scientific evidence presents otherwise. On another matter, Khairi said that the government will announce movement restrictions involving several sectors when early signs of a COVID-19 surge is detected. This is one of the details of the still-to-be-finalized heightened alert system, which will be announced once approved by the COVID-19 Pandemic Management Committee. However, he gave his assurance that the proposed restrictions would not involve lockdowns, but would instead limit activities on several sectors. The ministry will also intensify enforcement, particularly at business premises and restaurants, following reports that traders are no longer checking customers' vaccination status. Commenting on the 15th general election, Khairi stressed that the Health Ministry is against the idea of holding the polls anytime soon, in view of recent developments in the country's COVID-19 situation. He pointed out that all states except Perlis, Sarawak and Sabah have shown an increase in COVID-19 cases due to flexibilities allowed for interstate travel that started on October 11th. Other reasons include the discovery of a new COVID-19 variant and the increase in the hospitalization rate. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said Malaysia is deeply concerned about the situation in Myanmar and is hopeful that it will return to democracy soon. He said based on humanitarian grounds, Malaysia continues to render assistance and protection to the Rohingya in the country. In his intervention notes at the 13th Asia-Europe Summit, ASEM 13, held virtually on Friday, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said Malaysia remains committed to supporting the work of the ASEAN Special Envoy to find a peaceful solution in Myanmar. He also hoped that the current situation will not escalate further, as it will have an adverse impact on the repatriation of displaced Rohingya to Myanmar. The Premier added ASEM's key principles of multidimensional, equal partnership and mutual understanding form the important elements of solidarity and Asia-Europe cooperation. And as a strong proponent of multilateralism, he said Malaysia is committed to resolving conflicts through peaceful and constructive dialogue. The two-day virtual summit, which began on Thursday, was hosted by Cambodia, the current chair of ASEM. The intergovernmental process was established on March 1, 1996, comprising 21 Asian countries, 28 European Union member nations, among others. Malaysia joined ASEM in 1996 and has since actively participated in all its initiatives to foster dialogue and cooperation that benefit both regions. Effective Monday, the operating hours of the Johor-Singapore Causeway will be extended from 12 hours to 18 hours daily, from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Wee Ka Siong shared the news on his Facebook page on Friday, expressing hope that the move will help the country's economic activities to recover. Datuk Seri Wee said that the initiative is expected to ease the movements of lorry operators, trailers and logistics companies and help the transportation sector to recover, as it has been badly affected by COVID-19. Previously, the operating hours have been reduced to 12 hours, which is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., following the border closure by Malaysia and Singapore due to the pandemic. Datuk Seri Wee also said that the enforcement of the new operating hours had been agreed upon by both countries in view of the implementation of the land VTL between both countries beginning Monday. 10 assemblymen, including 8 new faces, took their oaths of office as members of the Malacca State Executive Council on Friday, following Barisan Nasional's landslide victory in the state election on November 20th. The swearing-in ceremony and the taking of oath of loyalty and secrecy were carried out before Yang di-Pertuan Negeri, Tun Muhammad Ali Muhammad Rustam at Dewan Sri Negeri in Ayer Keroh. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Sulaiman Mat Ali, who holds the Economic Planning, Finance, Land Development, Government-Linked Companies and Religious Affairs portfolio, was also present during the ceremony. Leading the list at the ceremony was Tanjung Bidara Assemblyman Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf Yusof, who was previously the Malacca State Assembly Speaker and is now the State Industry, Investment and Entrepreneur Development Committee Chairman. Two old faces, Rumbia Assemblyman Datuk Muhammad Jailani Khamis was maintained as the State Exco for Tourism, Heritage and Culture, while Ayer Molek Assemblyman Datuk Rahmat Mariman was given a new portfolio of works, transport, public amenities, infrastructure and flood management. The rest who were sworn in were Serkam Assemblyman Datuk Zaidi Atan, who was appointed as the State Exco for Housing, Local Government and Environment. The Lokmas Assemblyman Datuk Abdul Razak Abdul Rahman, who was given the Rural Development, Agriculture and Agro-Based Industry portfolio. Gade Assemblyman VP Shanmugam, who is the State Youth Development, Sports and Non-Governmental Organizations Committee Chairman. Bengkalan Batu Assemblywoman Datuk Kalsom Nordin, who is the State Women's Affairs, Family Development and Welfare Committee Chairman. Merlimau Assemblyman Dr. Muhammad Akmal Saleh, who is the State Health and Anti-Drug Committee Chairman. Paya Rumput Assemblyman Datuk Rais Yassin, who holds the Education and Technology portfolio, as well as Machap Jaya Assemblyman Ngui Hee Sem, who was given the Unity, Community Relations, Human Resource and Consumer Affairs portfolio. Earlier at a press conference, Datuk Sri Sulaiman, who is also Lindu Assemblyman, said he was confident that the new Exco lineup will be able to help develop and prosper the people and the state in the next 5 years.
Mereka diberikan tugas dan tanggungjawab dan mereka juga ada scorecard yang akan kita berikan, yang akan kita pantau. Sudah pasti kita ada satu jawatankuasa khas yang akan dibentuk bagi memastikan semua janji ini dapat dilaksanakan dalam tempoh yang telah pun ditetapkan seperti mana di dalam manifesto kita.
On the appointment of a new speaker for the Malacca State Assembly, the Chief Minister said it will be decided later before the next sitting begins. Sarawak DAP on Friday announced 18 of its 26 candidates for the 12th Sarawak State election set to take place on December 18th. Its chairman, Chang Ching Jen, said another 8 candidates would be announced later, with 6 of them in Kuching and 2 more in Cebu.
As for the Kuching, 6 areas, there will be. This is because of strategic reason, and we will see who are the candidates that SUPP, many SUPP will be fielding, and we will adjust accordingly. Because in these areas, candidates can be interchanged or can be swap seats or depending on our opponent, who is the candidate for the other side.
Chang explained that DAP is currently waiting for Gabungan Parti Sarawak, GPS, especially the Sarawak United People's Party, SUPP, to confirm the candidates in Pending, Padungan, Kota Sentosa, Batu Kawah, Batu Kitang and Setakan, before announcing the rest of their candidates. Of the 6 constituencies in Kuching, 2 are held by DAP, namely Violet Yong in Pending and Kota Sentosa held by Chang. Padungan is represented by an independent after its incumbent, Wong Kin Wei, quit the party on July 26th last year. For the other 2 areas in Cebu, the party has not yet reached an agreement with the local opposition party, United Sarawak Party, PSB, on the 2 seats, as negotiations are still ongoing. Still to come on Nightline, father and son among 3 remanded in murder probe. Don't go away.
Signs of economic recovery. What's the outlook for 2022? Concerns on borrowing and national debt. Financial help initiatives for SMEs. Replenishing the nation's coffers. Special attention to the tourism sector. Finance Ministry's National Budget Director, Dato' Johan Mahmud Merican, speaks with Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
Welcome back. In Perak, 3 men, including a trader and his father, are in remand for 7 days beginning Friday in connection with the death of a man during a fight in front of a stall at Pasar Pagi Flat, Ashby, Ipoh on Thursday. The remand order against the trio, aged between 34 and 60, was issued by Ipoh Magistrate Nur Azrin Liyana Muhammad Darus to facilitate police investigations into the case. It was believed that the first suspect is a 34-year-old businessman and the second suspect is his 60-year-old father, while the third suspect was a 47-year-old trader who was also a relative of the suspects involved. In the incident, which occurred about 9 a.m., 29-year-old Muhammad Nur Fakih Muhammad Arifin was believed to have been choked to death during a scuffle with 3 men over the alleged theft of a portable speaker. State Police Chief Datuk Mir Farid Al-Atrash Wahid said the case is currently being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. Vehicle marshals are prohibited from handling traffic control without the presence of police. Bukit Aman Traffic Enforcement and Investigation Department JSPT Director Datuk Mat Kasim Karim stressed that the deployment of marshals in a competition, convoy or any program must be under the presence of police personnel. According to Datuk Mat Kasim, road users do not necessarily have to follow to the instructions of a marshal, such as asking them to give way, to detour and others. He added under the Police Act and the Road Transport Act, only policemen, Road Transport Department officers and local government's traffic wardens are given the authority to control traffic on public roads. Action can be taken on individuals or groups who stop, control or divert vehicles on public roads without the presence of police officers. On Tuesday, police arrested 2 men who were escorts or marshals of a convoy of high-powered motorcycles that stopped public vehicles at the Suabetong traffic light junction, Port Dickson. Their actions were recorded in a 1-minute video, which has gone viral over the past week. Former Attorney General Tan Sri Tommy Thomas claimed that Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak's lawsuit was an attempt to harass and intimidate him from carrying out his duty as the AG and public prosecutor to prefer charges against the former Prime Minister. He said this in his affidavit in support of his application to strike out the former Prime Minister's suit over claims of misfeasance in public office, malicious prosecution and negligence on part of the former AG and the government. Tan Sri Thomas added that he believed that Datuk Sri Najib's legal action was a political suit filed for political reasons and for the use in the campaign leading up to the Melaka state election and the next general election. According to him, the allegation was only raised by Datuk Sri Najib for the first time, although he was charged in 1 Malaysia Development Berhad, 1 MDB-related cases in September 2018, as well as for the money laundering case in 2019. He claimed that Datuk Sri Najib had never raised any allegation of malicious prosecution as part of the defence in his SRC International Sdn Bhd case and the ongoing 1MDB cases. Datuk Sri Najib also claimed that Tan Sri Thomas had prejudged his cases before making a decision to charge the Pekan Member of Parliament, as well as interfered in the investigations. The former AG denied the claims as the investigations were carried out independently by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. The High Court set January 19th next year for case management. BioNTech and Pfizer expect new variant impact data within 2 weeks. This and more when we return. Onto the foreign front. Germany's BioNTech said Friday it was urgently studying how well the coronavirus vaccine it developed with Pfizer protects against the new B.1.1.529 variant detected in South Africa. The company also expects more data from the laboratory tests in 2 weeks, as they are in the midst of identifying whether the new variant could be an escape variant that may require an adjustment of their vaccine if the variant spreads globally. BioNTech said the new variant differs significantly from previously observed variants, as it has additional mutations located in the spike protein. The discovery of the new variant by scientists in South Africa has sparked global alarm, amid concerns its many mutations could make it even more dangerous than the highly contagious Delta strain. Europe rushed to ban travel from southern Africa on Friday to slow the spread of a new COVID-19 strain that scientists fear could torpedo efforts to beat the pandemic. The EU Commission said it would swiftly coordinate joint action among the bloc's 27 member states. So far, Austria, the Czech Republic, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands have joined Britain in announcing travel bans. The bans all included South Africa and, in many cases, also some of all the following: Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. It is understood that global markets plunged as news sank in that a new variant more infectious than the Delta and possibly more resistant to vaccines could potentially deal a heavy blow to the global recovery.
Bonjour à tout le monde. The European Commission will propose in close coordination
In related development, Merck & Co. said on Friday that updated data from its study on its experimental COVID-19 pill showed the drug was less effective in cutting hospitalizations and deaths than previously reported. The drug maker said its pill showed a 30% reduction in hospitalizations and deaths based on data from over 1,400 patients, compared with its data that showed a roughly 50% efficacy based on data from 775 patients in October. Merck also said that the data on molnupiravir, developed with Ridgeback Biotherapeutics, had been submitted to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The panel is expected to vote whether to recommend that the agency authorize the oral capsules for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 in adults who are at risk of severe disease.
But that stuff obviously needs to be super.
Johor Darul Tazim cruised to Malaysian Cup final. Sports coming up next. Sports Football Malaysian Cup. Johor Darul Tazim advanced to the final for the second time in a row as they beat Terengganu 3-0 in their second leg of the semi-final clash to win 4-1 on aggregate. Bergson de Silva opened the scoring in the 7th minute as he unleashed a fine volley from outside of the box, before Gabriel Cabrera added the second 4 minutes later with another volley following across from Arif Aiman. Bergson then completed his brace 2 minutes later as he fired home the ball into the bottom corner to seal the victory. The Southern Tigers will next face either Kuala Lumpur City FC or Malacca United in the final. Still on football, the Australian A-League. Western United got their first win of the season as they edged the Perth Glory 1-0 on Friday night. The only goal of the game came in the 78th minute thanks to a strike from substitute Dylan Wenzel-Hals. The forward was the first to react as he tapped in the ball into an empty net following an initial shot that hit the post. With the win, Western United now sit 4th in the league standings with 3 points after 2 matches. Egyptian authorities unveiled the renovated ancient promenade in the city of Luxor dating back 3,000 years, the latest government project undertaken to highlight the country's archaeological treasures. The unveiling ceremony wraps up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe, Malaysia.